Welcome everybody to Wyld Networks. I'm the chairman. Jag är chairman of the board, styrelseordförande för det här bolaget, och jag har jobbat med high-tech-bolag kanske de senaste 20 åren, och jag har med stor glädje fått komma med i Wyld Networks. Jag ser en väldigt intressant potential. Vi kommer idag presentera den här styrelsen och företagsledningen, och vi kommer också att presentera naturligtvis företagets strategi. 3 punkter på dagordningen tycker jag, eller 3 punkter jag skulle bara vilja så att säga tala om när man gör investeringar i mindre nyetablerade bolag. Det är 3 punkter tycker jag som är viktiga. Dels nummer 1 är att man har en bra verkställande företagsledning i bolaget, att man tänker internationellt och att man har en bra produkt. Det är 3 saker som jag tror är jätteviktiga. Man ska kontrollera och checka av när man investerar i nya etablerade bolag. Och i Wyld Networks kan jag lugnt konstatera att vi har en mycket väl etablerad företagsledning med stor erfarenhet av att starta upp high-tech-bolag och jobba globalt. Internationaliseringen är en grundförutsättning i nutidens tekniska utveckling, och i det här bolaget så tänker ju bolaget från början redan internationellt med amerikanska ägare. Man har etablerat sig eller startat upp i UK, Cambridge, och engelsmän, UK people, tänker ju bara på sitt gamla imperie som hemmamarknad. Indien är fortfarande hemmamarknad, USA, Kanada, Australien, så man tänker internationellt från början, vilket är en bra, god förutsättning. Produkten är ju självklart viktigt, och i det här fallet så har vi en high-tech teknologi som vi redan har fått verifierat från stora kunder att man vill ingå avtal och etablera den här teknologin i sina bolag. De kunderna kommer Alistair att berätta mer om sedan. Så det är några små tips till er som investerar i nystartade bolag och vill investera i Wyld Networks. VIP kan vi säga, verkställande, internationalisering och produkten YIP. Nu ska jag introducera styrelsen här, och vi har då en person som heter Mats också. Vi är 2 stycken Matsar. Mats R. Rustan som har en teknologisk bakgrund. Mats, kan ju please starta din presentation?
Ja, absolut. Så tack så mycket Mats L. Andersson, och jag heter Mats R. Andersson. Jag har började jobba med satellitkommunikation på Ericsson på 1980-talet och var kvar på Ericsson i drygt 20 år där jag jobbar med 2G, 3G, 4G. Idag har jag mer än 35 års erfarenhet av att jobba med telekommunikation och satellitkommunikation i stora och små bolag. Nu för tiden så ägnar jag mig mest åt styrelseuppdrag. Jag är styrelseordförande i 2 bolag som har unika satellitterminaler och ett bolag som har IoT, Internet of Things, för byggindustrin för att göra den säkrare. Under mina år så har jag sett hur 2G, 3G, 4G och nu 5G har gett mer och mer värde till stora delar av mänskligheten och de flesta människor, och samtidigt för tidiga investerare skapat stora förmögenheter. Trots detta så är bara cirka 15% av jordens yta täckt av mobiltäckning. Wyld Networks AB ligger i framkant när det gäller att koppla upp resterande 85% genom en smart, patenterad och kostnadseffektiv lösning för Internet of Things. Och med Internet of Things så tänker vi på alla sensorer som kan sitta i lantbruk, hos kreatur för att hålla reda på om de blir sjuka. Man kan använda det till att optimera vattentillförsel i skogsbruk. Det finns hur många användningsområden som helst, men det har inte varit möjligt att kunna utnyttja de här Internet of Things eftersom det inte finns mobiltäckning till väldigt stora landarealer för jordbruk och skogsbruk. Nu kommer den möjligheten att finnas, för Wyld Networks har tagit fram en lösning där man kan direkt gå till lågflygande satelliter, så kallade LEO-satelliter. Och jag tror att ge kostnadseffektiv uppkoppling till de delar av jorden där det inte finns idag Det blir nästa stora tillväxtområde inom telekommunikation. Så då lämnar jag tillbaka till dig, Mats L.
Tusen tack Mats R. Mats Rustan. Nu ska jag gå över till Albert Sisto. Kommer från USA, har en high-tech bakgrund i 30 år i USA, så jag kan förstå, och är ordförande för ett av nyckelinvesterarna i Wyld Networks.
Thank you, Mats. I'm Al Sisto, as Matt said. I'm both a board member of Wyld Networks AB and Wyld Networks Limited, and I'm also the CEO of Turn PLC, the largest investor today in Wyld Networks, and we're a London-based and Silicon Valley-based AIM-listed investment company. Like my colleagues, I have been involved in technology businesses for over 40 years, with the majority of my experiences in Silicon Valley. Beginning with Intel in the late 70s and serving leadership positions in technology, defining startups like MIPS and RSA, and ending my operating career as chairman and CEO of both Phoenix Technologies and later Hyphen Technologies, both NASDAQ publicly traded companies in the first decade of the 2000s, before becoming a venture capital investor. During the last 25 years, I have focused on looking at companies, building companies, and investing in companies that have unlocked the power and potential of the internet, from RSA providing encryption to enable e-commerce, to Hyphen processors enabling efficient cloud, secure cloud storage. Turn, as the seed investor in Wyld Networks, saw in this company the vision, the technology, and the team that could move the internet beyond large cities and help bring the internet to the remaining 85% of the world, not served today by conventional technologies that Matt's referred to earlier. It's a very large, unserved market and a socially responsible mission by the company to bring the internet to where the internet isn't today. I believe the future potential for solutions that can be developed on and around Wyld Technologies products will address this market and are boundless in the opportunities that they create, as this is a brand new opportunity to solve problems around the world in ways that have never been thought of before. And I think that Wyld is excellently prepared, and we at Turn believe excellently prepared to take a leadership position in this market and with their products to solve new problems that haven't been solved before. Matt?
Thank you very much. Now we should move over to Alistair Williamson, and we have a presentation about the business, our strategy for the future, and about Alistair himself, of course. Please, Alistair.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Matt, for the introduction. So, as Matt says, my name's Alistair Williamson. I'm the Chief Executive of Wyld Networks. So Wyld Networks was formed in Cambridge in the UK in 2016, and subsequently we formed Wyld Networks AB in Sweden. Our plan is to list the company on the NASDAQ First North in June, and the subscription period will begin on the 7th of June through to the 21st of June. And further information will be available on our website through the investor page. Now, I do urge you to go and have a look at our investor page. However, what I wanted to do today was to give you a brief introduction to Wyld Networks on what we do and what problems we're solving. So I've got a small presentation for about 15 minutes, and I'd appreciate you took your time to have a look at the presentation. Wyld Networks addresses two problems. The first problem we're addressing is lack of global connectivity. Only 15% of the world's surface has wireless coverage, and this is holding back the growth of IoT networks from adding between $2 to $3 trillion in GDP over the next 10 years. So what we've done is we've developed a product called Wyld Connect, and Wyld Connect is an affordable wireless solution that connects IoT devices and sensors anywhere in the world directly to low Earth orbiting satellites, thus providing connectivity to the other 85% of the world's surface. The second issue that we address is congested internet connectivity. Now that's where wireless networks are congested, and that impacts globally about $5.2 billion in lost revenue every day. So we've developed Wyld Mesh, and Wyld Mesh is a technology that connects smartphones as well as IoT devices directly together in a wireless mesh network without the need for Wi-Fi or 4G. So to just paraphrase that simply, Wyld Network enables affordable connectivity across the globe in areas where wireless coverage is unavailable or wireless networks are congested. To talk a bit more about Wyld Connect. So Wyld Connect enables affordable global satellite connectivity for IoT networks. As I said earlier, wireless networks only cover 15% of the world's surface, whereas low Earth orbiting satellites provide global coverage. So Wyld Connect is a solution that eliminates the need for expensive satellite terminals and expensive licensed spectrum to make satellite IoT economics competitive to terrestrial IoT solutions with the benefit of global coverage. So Wyld Connect is an IoT module that connects IoT devices directly to satellites using a technology called LPWAN. And I just want to show you a small video that gives you an idea of some of the applications that Wyld Connect addresses. As you can see, the applications of Wyld Connect are varied, but obviously address the areas of the world where there's no wireless coverage. And that's in agriculture, that's in the environment, that's in oil and gas, it's in maritime, and there are a huge number of IoT sensors and devices being deployed into those verticals to ensure that data can be collected, analysed, and informed decisions made. In respect to the market, the forecasts for the satellite IoT market is really to grow to about $5.9 billion starting this year by 2025. And that represents about a deployment of 30.3 million IoT modules. And that's what we've developed. Wyld Connect is an IoT module that connects IoT devices and sensors directly to low Earth orbiting satellites. We've signed an agreement with a global satellite operator, and the agreement is to develop, test and market that IoT module. And in respect to the satellite IoT module, we're looking to commercially launch the solution towards the end of this year. Wyld Mesh, the second solution I was talking about in respect to how do we solve the problem of congested internet access. So Wyld Mesh is a solution that creates resilient and relevant wireless networks for people and things. It allows companies to build wireless networks that have location-aware capability. The whole concept here is giving companies and brands the ability to deliver relevant location-aware content to their customers without the need for Wi-Fi or 4G by connecting smartphones directly to each other. It's about how customers and brands can enhance the customer experience and how they can generate new revenues. And once again, I've got another video that will explain a bit more about the application of Wyld Mesh. So that gives you a view of the applications of Wyld Mesh. Wyld Mesh can be deployed in retail environments, in stadiums, in conferences, everywhere where brands want to connect with their customers. And 61% of smartphone users say that they're more likely to buy from companies whose mobile apps actually customize content that's relevant to them and relevant to their location. So Wyld Mesh is a solution that not only delivers relevant location-aware content to customers in different environments, whether it be retail, sporting stadiums or conferences, but it also does it with resilience because we can actually connect smartphones together without the need for Wi-Fi or 4G, which addresses the issue of congested internet connectivity. So if we look at the three areas or areas where we're marketing our solution, there is the satellite and the terrestrial IoT networks, which is Wyld Connect. Now, Wyld Connect, as I said earlier, it's about creating affordable wireless networks to control, collect and analyze data from IoT devices and sensors anywhere in the world by combining LPWAN technology and low Earth orbiting satellite technology. And then there's the consumer mesh networks, and that's an application for Wyld Mesh. And that's, as I said earlier, is about the creation of customer engagement and new revenue streams by building location-aware wireless networks and targeting your customers with information that improves the customer experience in various verticals in retail, stadiums, and other venues. And then there's the enterprise mesh IoT sector that we're marketing our solution to. And this is combining both Wyld Mesh and Wyld Connect So we're looking at improving operational efficiency by building mesh networks connecting smartphones and IoT devices to improve operational efficiency, create enterprise communication networks, and connecting people and IoT devices in one network within the enterprise. And if we're to look at the size of the market, and let's just looking at the satellite IoT networks market. So that's basically using a combination of a platform we called Wyld Fusion that sits in the cloud and Wyld Connect, which is our IoT module. And the global market for satellite IoT, as I mentioned earlier, is forecasted to grow to about $5.9 billion in 2025, with about 30.3 million IoT modules being deployed, and that's starting in 2021. And then on the consumer mesh networks, it's about the combination of Wyld Fusion, our platform that sits in the cloud, and Wyld Mesh, our solution that connects smartphones directly to smartphones without the need for Wi-Fi or 4G. And that market's focusing at the global location-based advertising market. And that market was valued at about $62.3 billion in 2019, and it's going to be growing at a compound annual growth rate of over 17% through to 2027. And then on the third market, which is the enterprise mesh IoT networks market, and that's a combination of, once again, Wyld Fusion, our platform that sits in the cloud, Wyld Mesh that connects smartphones directly to smartphones, and Wyld Connect, our IoT module. And this is about connecting not just people to people, but people to IoT devices. And the global wireless mesh network market is expected to register a growth of over 15% from 2018 through to 2016 to reach a market size of about $12.1 billion US. So what we've done at Wyld is we've looked at those big numbers and we've calculated what we believe to be our total addressable markets. So that's the market that Wyld believes we can address with our solutions. And we forecast the size of that market to be about $670 million US by 2024. To give you an idea of where we are in respect to customers and the traction we've got so far. So we launched at the end of 2019 our terrestrial Wyld Connect solution. As I say, it was launched in December 2019, and we've captured a lot of customers. The application those customers are using our terrestrial Wyld Connect solution for is mainly in agriculture, in the environment, for smart metering and for smart lighting. And it's about collecting that data and doing something that's informative and actionable with that data. Then in Q3 2020, we launched Wyld Mesh. And we got our first customer, which was in the healthcare environment, and that deployment has taken place, and it's basically about connecting people to people and delivering location-aware content as well as measuring social distancing. And that project was deployed with the NHS in the UK, which is the National Health Service. In respect to Wyld Connect, our satellite IoT solution, we're looking to launch that solution in Q4 2021. And we've signed up various partners and some very large partners and resellers to take our solution to market. To give you an idea of the size of those partners and resellers we have, they have basically a combined revenue of approximately $150 billion US. And these are the partners that we're going to use to take our solution to market. And I just wanted to end with one slide that talks about the investments. What are the highlights of this investment? And there's 4 key issues I wanted to bring over to you. The first is we have a very strong board and a strong management. The board and management are composed of a team with a lot of experience of building software companies, as well as the fact the majority of the team has experience in managing listed companies. And on the technology side of it, we have a patented technology, And more importantly, we have a patent technology in a very, very high growth market. In respect to partners and customers, we have a very strong set of partners and resellers that are going to take us to market. I've given some examples here of Fujitsu, Ascom, One Ocean, KWS, as well as a lot of other companies that we've engaged with and we have partnerships with. And these companies have a combined revenue of over 150 billion US dollars, and we'll be using them to take us into the market. And fourthly is about the business model that we have in place. So we have a mix of solutions that provide revenue, from hardware to software licenses to term-based software licenses. So it creates a very lucrative business model and a mix of annual recurring revenue and a mix of hardware high growth revenue. So that concludes my presentation, but what I would like to mention is that if you do go onto the Wyld website, wyldnetworks.com, and go to the investor page, you can get access to our prospectus. That prospectus will give you a lot more information on the product, on the market, on the business model, on how we generate revenues and what those mix of revenues are. So I'd like to thank you very much for listening to this presentation.